Like we got him.
Incorrect. I got him.
Well, either way, we're gonna collect this bounty. What the?
All right, let me see. Mic is working. All right, so we're just gonna hop into this one. All right, howdy folks. Cody here, IronVerse Comics. You probably know that label down there, label at the front of the screen. I mean, branding, right? Branding. So what we're talking about today goes a little off of what we talked about yesterday, and it's also important to me. But it's not, as yesterday's wasn't. It's not directed at any individual or any kind of certain situation. It's directed at my observations of what I've seen, right? I want to share that and what I've experienced. That's part of why I do this channel. It's a very tiny channel too. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just something I want to do for me. It's a very selfish act. So, title of the stream: How to Win the War of Perception. So, where to start? So, what do I mean by perception? Well, the Nazis were tricked into stalling a bit in the invasion of Britain by inflatable tanks. The U.S. military in Vietnam tried to use the jungle as a horror spot to spook the Vietnamese out of there by wails and screams and just the most horrific things you can think of being broadcasted as loudly as they could throughout the jungle. Perception is a very powerful tool. There's a few different ways about it, and I hope by the end of it you'll understand kind of what I do, which is there is no single way to win the war on perception. There's many different ways, and each path will give you different footing to build upon. And my hope is that you understand that the fight is not the war. That's the big one. Fight is fleeting. The war, especially on that kind of thought form, that idea, is pretty much eternal. I mean, it's as long as you're kicking around to do it. So, it depends on your definition of eternal. Sometimes it goes past where you're kicking around it, right? There's quite a bit of that going around, especially these days. So where do I begin? I guess I want to focus on my specific experiences in what I do, indie comics. Very, very niche concept for this, right? The war of perception is basically all encompassing on every facet of human existence. It's literally trying to control how you are perceived. It's it's very important in basically every social dynamic. It's very important in every competitive dynamic. It's important in every business dynamic, right? So it's applicable in a lot more ways than I'm gonna be able to talk about. I'm just a dude. I'm just some random dude who's been lucky enough to make indie comics for a little bit of time, um, and has had experience with many different social dynamics within that. And I could say do's and don'ts, and I'm gonna try not to do that because again, I'm probably gonna be saying this quote more and more often because it's kept me moving quite a bit. But Miyamoto Musashi, he said, quote unquote, I think it's probably in the book of the Ten Rings. That's the only reason we know he said it. Um, that you must understand there's more than one path up the mountain. So I am not here to judge these paths. Never. That's not my forte. I don't feel I have the grand standing to judge these paths. But I do have the ability to perceive these paths. And then I have the ability to find and choose these paths. And so I can talk about the paths I've chosen, and I can talk about the paths I've observed others choose and the results therein, right? Well, what I've seen come of them. Since none of these paths are finished, I can't, say how it'll end. I can't say what it's going to lead to, but I can say what I've seen, and that should be fair, especially in general, which I'm trying to always do. I try not to judge people personally, but anyway, this morning I'm in a bit of a mood, and I wanted to talk about this specifically because I think I've done a few things that many other indie creators have not been able to or haven't chosen to do, which is have the widest possible open table, um, which allows you the best of everything out there. Um, and usually keeps you safe from the extremities. Howdy, Just Doug. Welcome, welcome. The Code Man, he says. Man, that's one of the more. So I've gotten Code Dog from a couple folks. It was used to be just one guy, a good friend. He called me Code Dog. But then what my boss did that a couple times. I thought it was hilarious. I love my boss. He's a good guy. Then Code Man I've gotten a couple times. Um, I think those are the two. Those are the two I've got once in a while. So that's funny. Appreciate that. Appreciate that reminder. So I guess the best bit is to maybe start on I guess the path I've chosen, because then I can use that to branch off on why I didn't choose other pathways. Um, so my goal has always been and will always be, there's no reason for it not to be, time's too short, um, to connect and to observe and to be blessed by the presence of as many wonders as this world has to offer. Now, I'm not coming from a hedonistic standpoint, though of course I am tended like most humans to lean into hedonism here and there, and keeps you a little sane, right? But it's from a fact that, again, I look at the ticking clock. I look at the burdens that we all share, whether or not we tend to acknowledge those burdens, um, the responsibilities we all share, and I want to have the most complete amount of data as possible to be the best I can be. Um, Now, I failed that many times in my life in different circumstances. Um, but in this particular one, I think I've done pretty good the last few years. I've done my best to not allow the flags, the ideas, the the things that divide us to divide me from you. That's always been my goal because I know those divisions are not only temporary, but they are often illusory. They're often magic tricks. Um, and honestly, they're often a magic trick was very kind. They're often bullshit. Just straight up, it's often just bullshit because you only have the moment and you only have the other, right? And those are the only two things that ever matter to me. Given that, I put the utmost respect on those two things. Um, and that's how I've guided my pathway through what is the most chaotic meeting of souls in existence, the internet. It's never had that much chaos and that many echoes of people bouncing off each other. Never. It's never occurred before, and people really, we've come to accept it as every day, right? But it's in the grand scheme of existence and history, it's such a blip of time we've been wrangling with this thing. Um, and I think we're doing pretty well, all things considered. Uh, honestly, and that says a lot, right? And we usually, as bad as things are out there, from what I've seen, we usually handling it a lot better than we could. It's sure it's not perfect, but we ain't perfect. Um, but back to the main bit, using that as a guiding star, um, using my desire to leave each encounter having bettered the other, if possible, or at least not caused harm. Those are my two bits. I don't want to cause harm, and I want to leave better than before. And I think maybe yesterday I failed on that, even though I tried very hard. It was a very selfish stream yesterday. Very selfish because I needed to express those things so I felt better. Very selfish. And I try not to be so selfish, but sometimes you gotta be. Again, sanity. Sanity usually comes from balance, not from extremes. Um, that's been the bit, right? That's been my whole bit. You can trace that to my whole how I approach the war on perception. Balance and sanity comes from sanity comes from balance, not from extremes. Because I've seen, and now I comment on other paths. I've seen what extremes can do, and definitely they don't lean towards sanity and stability. Now, again, I'm not judging that as an incorrect path. You will see that depending on what your goals are when you're waging this war on perception, um, sometimes insanity is the way to get things done. No question. Absolutely no question. I've seen it again and again work. I've seen the extreme do its job again and again. Um, and to those who can push that forward and carry that, I'm going to call it a burden because I perceive it as a burden. But many others won't, right? They perceive it as a cause or as a duty even, right? And that's the thing too. If you feel it's your duty, then again, I don't disrespect that. Um, I don't. But it's not for me. Is my best bit, right? Um, I've been able to avoid the worst of it out there while being clipped by one of the worst out there because of my open table. And that's the bit. The wider your table, the more likely. I want to find something more clever of a metaphor, but that fits with table, right? Uh, you could do like more likely broken legs will show up or something. But the best metaphor is snakes. The more likely snakes will find its way into your company. Um, and I've been blessed that, as far as I'm aware, and I wasn't aware before I became aware that there was a snake there. That's usually how it works. It's insidious. It's tough. Um, because honestly, you can't fully ever know anyone, right? And and for me, that knowledge has been a blessing that allows me to respect and empathize with everyone. But that empathy can again allow some shit to be found in your path. That maybe even the extremes won't allow, simply because it's completely ignored and pushed through, right? Um, but on how to win the war of perception, right? So we defined perception as best as I can. I try to now put forward what I try and do. There's probably more to say there. We might be saying more, but now it's you have to define what victory is for you. Is if victory is business success, I'm sure there are many paths up that mountain. I've witnessed many paths up that mountain. I've seen assholes be able to find great success in being assholes. I've seen good people find great success in being good people. Um, there's no one way up this mountain. Um, but it depends on what level of sacrifice you're willing to make. Um, and to some, those sacrifices won't matter, especially if you're on the more extreme bit, because it's just how you walk that path. Um, but I've seen the sacrifices that have been made, and a lot of the time it's not something I'm willing to do, and that may limit my ability to succeed. My hope is a slow, stable foundation is more beneficial for myself in the long run than any rapid growth caused by a radical shift in how I do things. Um, but when you're moving so slow, you could feel very much stuck in a rut and spinning wheels. So you have to have patience to see if the terrain's actually moving around you or if you're spinning wheels. And we're about to see that again this just next week. We're going to see if I've just been spinning wheels or if I've been building. Um, so I'm no, you know, my goal is never to serve as like an example or to serve as example's the best I could do. Um, my goal is to hopefully leave minds more open than I find them. And I know, and you can have your mind so open everything falls out, right? That's one of the bits, and it's true. It's very true, and I have tended towards that. Uh, but that's the danger of walking the path I'm walking, alongside snakes, alongside bringing sides together that shouldn't be brought together, even though it's honestly for me, I think it's healthy that those things meet once in a while, just so that they remember what they truly are instead of being stuck as the ideas of each other. Um, and I've tried very hard to do that, and I've seen that I've been able to do that in certain ways. A lot of ways, people have had to, due to how I operate, close me off and close me out of it. It's just what I offer is not something that helps them alongside their path in a way they want that path to be, walked. And that's how it goes. It's a great sorrow to me, but it's how it goes. Um, when I was little, um, the first big dream I remember having was before I really had a perception of numbers and societal interaction and interpersonal reaction and factional interaction. It was to be friends with everybody. I had no idea what that truly meant. I'm a little kid. I'm talking like 3, 4. As I grew up and all those things I just spoke about revealed themselves to me, and I started understanding what they meant, and I started feeling the sorrow and weight this experience brings with you, and by this experience, this life brings to you, if you're perceiving it as I did anyway. A lot of joy, all that good stuff, but that weight, um, that was part of what Jack was born out of, for one. But then my dream shifted to something much darker, crazy darker. And then even just out of one of the trials, I'm still walking it, but that began um, just a few days over a year ago. Um, a big chunk of that darker dream, the bit that would allow me to succeed in it, occurred, and I find it distasteful now. Um, and there are days where I don't, but having that perception and actually getting there and seeing it and looking at it with time behind me, with experience behind me, with love and joy and respect behind me and in front of me. That's the big one. Um, Found it extremely distasteful. And so now I'm left with the remnants of my childhood dream, you know, brought to a realistic lens, um, and forging ahead with the new one, the purpose I have put forward for myself. Um, and I'm very lucky that I am a very stubborn individual in that, because as everybody has, gone through, it gets tough out there. It gets tough. And I'm just hoping that each of us can find a way to walk the path we need to with harming as few others as possible. And one of those few who sometimes harm needs to be learned from. I think that's, part of the path, part of the duality of this place. Um, and sometimes that's part of your duty, is to help teach somebody else that. I think that's part of it. Now, there's some evil shit, right? And that's that one's one of those Pandora's boxes that once opened, it can't be quite justified. But it's the whole why do bad things happen to good people thing, and yeah, you can answer that, but no answer is truly satisfactory and all encompassing. It can't be. It's just one of those questions that's just too big. Um, but the end of the day, how I try and win the war of perception is, the golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated yourself. I mean, that was pretty fucking simple. And then try and there's a wonderful. Let me see if I can find it. I would like to bring it up. It's been a year since I read this manga, but I saved bits of it because the author had these wonderful quotes he'd put before certain chapters, and I clipped the ones that meant a lot to me. So let me see if I can find it. And this is the thing, and it fits into why I continue to lose respect for certain individuals. At the same time, I totally empathize. So it's not like um, I don't lose loyalty, but I can lose a bit of respect. Um, but let me see if I can find it. There it is. There it is. That's the one. It doesn't get much traction when I put it forward, but it's still a beautiful. So the manga in question is called Innocent. It might have come from Innocent Blood, which is the sequel manga. Um, Never been translated to English officially, so I read it all through fan subs. I read like 300 chapters in one night because it's probably the best work in sequential art I have ever read. Dollar Coins put me onto it, and he's like, "This is the best thing I ever read." And I was like, "What? No way! Fine, I'll start it." And I started it. I couldn't finish. I couldn't stop. I read that for like 13 hours straight. uh, Fucking incredible. It hit every level of sequential artistry that it needed to. And then it had quotes like this. So let me share. There, cool. I already have display capture on. The path I've selfishly chosen for myself is rough, uneven road. I tripped again and again, got stuck in the mud, and crouched down, unable to walk forward. But when that happened, someone reached their hand out to me. So now I call out to my juniors that are struggling now, like people used to do for me. The idea of paying it forward. Super important in this life. It's why we have anything we have these days. And in this medium where mentorship is almost frowned upon in our specific corner of it because you are breeding your own competition, um, more than ever, I think we need people to be able to exhale and understand you're working on something greater together, not just what you're trying to do. That's the whole point of what I do of IronVerse Comics. I want to build a platform that allows people to build something greater than I ever could. That's the whole reason I do it. And I think that path will win the war of perception every time. Every fucking time. Because it's not egocentric. It's not. It takes something very egocentric, the creative industry, and makes it not egocentric. It allows others to share in it and to build upon it. And if I can be a little less humble for a second, I think I've done that very well. And I will continue to do it as long as I'm able to. And nobody's going to stop me. You might get in my way, you might put speed bumps, but I'm going to do it as long as I'm able to. And we might hit a major speed bump with issue number 4. And it might be as disheartening as it was for me not being able to put out that hardcover last year. And that one, like, watching it take down and then finishing, man, if you watch the end of that stream, I'm breaking. Because yeah, we're all invested in this, very much so. This is part of your soul gets put into your work, or else you're not doing it right. And so you're watching something that has your heart and soul in it flounder. So it's how you handle that that'll also allow you to win this war on perception. I only have as much resonance with others as I allow myself to have. And fucking A, I want as much as I can get. Because that's how I do this. Anyway, let me check chat. I think I hit my bit though. I think that pretty much covers how I plan on winning the war on perception and will continue to be doing it. I could do the don'ts, but basically by doing the do's, you hopefully are intelligent enough to extrapolate the don'ts. Um, and even then the do's, like I don't suggest that you just do what I do. I suggest that you look at what I do alongside with what you're doing and figure out for yourself what you need to do. It could be 180% the opposite of what I do. What I found though is that what I've seen is that it's a mix of what I do coupled to basically the anti of what I do and being able to get those to work together in at least a slight harmony that I've seen lots of creators find great success. Um, you usually can't do it by flipping off everybody. You usually have to be carrying as well, at least a little bit. Um, and some people who you're carrying really like seeing you flip off a lot of fuckers. And that's great. That's great. But even today, I was just, you first wake up and then you see this conflicting, aggressive, egotistic energy just put right into your face that doesn't even acknowledge what you're trying to do, and that got me upset. I'm upset, but I didn't listen to my usual mo. Usually, you flow like water. You just let it go, move forward, and I definitely tried, but eh, I'm a very emotional guy. Usually that allows me to, again, lean into empathy, allows me to at least understand and adapt to the infinite variation of personalities and beauty and horror out there. But sometimes you just want to fucking put up a wall, and sometimes you just want to break something. And I mean break something. And so I try and vent. And sometimes within 10 minutes, I'm very disappointed in myself. Um, in this case, it was a little bit longer, because it was just throwing gasoline on a fucking fire that was like, dude, just let it smolder out. It's smoldering. It's about to go out. Why the fuck are you doing that? Because I felt I needed to, just like yesterday's fucking stream. It just, Anywho, I said I was going to check chat. I love you all for listening to my ramblings. Let me check chat. All right. Yeah, but if you aren't doing for you, who else will? Fair point. Everything in moderation. Epicurus. Let me show you. I didn't get to talk about this as deeply as I wanted. I think I did have it on a What You Reading one time. So I love Sam Keith's paneling. I think it's some of the most creative paneling in comics. So I really wanted something. The Max is a little too much him for me. Um, and So I wanted something else with Sam Keith because I really like the amount of, you can tell the guy's broken, the guy's insane. He's got those bits, and that's the kind of art I'm always interested in because it's the people that are going to provide the most unique perspectives. And as I've been speaking, I will very hungry for what this world has to offer. So Epicurus the Sage. Let me switch to full cam here in a second, and then I'll show again. Boop. All right, Epicurus the Sage. Totally recommend checking it out. It might not be for everybody. It's William Messner Loebs and Mr. Keith. Epicurus was a Grecian philosopher who, exactly as you said, just Doug, he preached everything in moderation, even moderation. Um, he was the first to really teach women, was a big one too, because he's like, this is too extreme. And also ladies were, in this, ladies are the only ones who attend his class. Socrates is out there with everybody around him, Plato, Aristotle. The little guy right there that kind of looks like Hobbes is actually Alexander the Great when he's studying under Plato. Um, or under Aristotle, I think is what it was. Um, Very fun read. If you're coming from it with a philosophy background, you're probably going to get pissed because it's very cartoony and it definitely uses the philosophies as it wants and not as perhaps intended. A lot of fun. But his paneling, again, I just fucking great. Sam Keith knew how to do weird, great paneling. He was, in my eyes, I can't show that page. A lot of nudity. Uh, he was, for me, the guy who really, like, if you want to see some really cool looking paneling, man, he does some great, like, he's very cartoony, he's very edgy, he does a lot of exaggerated proportions on characters, all that kind of stuff. It's very fun. But circular paneling, like, he nailed it. Fisheye lens angles, weird shit like that, just endlessly entertaining. Totally recommend this. But yeah, Epicurus was the moderation philosopher. It was very cool to read this. You should check out Logic Comics sometime. Logic Comics. I should. I have no idea what it is, but I agree, Eliza Barr, and also welcome, Eliza Barr. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I needed to say something again today, and hopefully this time I nailed it instead of allowing a door open for allowing the door to be open. Um, Chat ain't worth checking. Oh, well, fine. I shouldn't have acknowledged you then, huh? It's about Bertrand Russell and is a survey of late 19th and early 20th century. Oh, so like Enlightenment style philosophy? No, post Enlightenment style philosophy. Interesting, interesting. I'm a big I like Spinoza quite a bit. I think he had a very humbling view of it, of everything. Um, Diogenes is my boy. At the end of the day, man, Diogenes is my boy. Just because he was the epitome of fuck the system. I love that guy. Um, but in all his disgusting nature. Uh, but yeah, folks, I think that hit everything I wanted to. Um, again, you can extrapolate what I think no, shouldn't. Again, I don't want to do that. You can extrapolate paths that I wouldn't walk from the paths I tried to explain I do. So I hope that's helpful for folks. I hope this isn't perceived as some kind of passive aggressive dig at somebody. I don't mean it that way, but again, this is another selfish thing like yesterday, so it's very likely to blow up in my face again. If folks have any questions, I'm going to be here. I don't actually have to go anywhere today, so I can hang out for a bit. But I think I hit everything I wanted to. Um, oh, thank you for explaining further, Elizabeth. It's about the birth of all our modern ills, from modernism to crazy German postmodernism, existentialism, I'm guessing nihilism. Um, okay, Logic Comics. Let me go ahead and boom, boom, boom. Logic Comics. Just so I don't forget, because my short-term memory is excellent for like numerics and a few other very specific circumstances, and then it's terrible otherwise. Logic Comics. Oh wow, that's a cheap little thing to get a hold of too. An epic search for truth. Is it just the one volume? Looks like it. I'm grabbing that. Thank you for the suggestion, Eliza Barr, because I that's my kind of stuff. I love it. I love it so very much. Quote of the day: Diogenes is my boy. He is though. Yeah. There's a couple stories. The one that doesn't get put forward so much is when he was brought in for being a filthy bastard, and he jerked off in the courtroom and said, "Ah, if only my I think he stole bread." And it's like, if only my other needs were filled so easily. Oh, that kind of shit, man. The guy's like, I'm gonna be me and fuck you otherwise. And oh my god, I love that attitude. I never do it myself. Again, I have too much respect for what we've built, but but I also have a great amount of respect for someone being so individual. Just being just a pure, this is me. I don't need your bullshit kind of guy. Like, oh man, it's a reminder of all the BS we deal with. That it's the whole The Shakespeare quote, "Life is a play. We have our entrances and exits and all of that." He just says, "Fuck your play." I'm me. I'll leave when I'm gonna leave. I'll do what I want. Fucking Alexander asks him to I could do anything for you. What do you want? Just stand out of my sun. I'm good. I don't fucking need you. Oh man, I love it. I just love it so much. So much. He my boy. He my boy. The philosophy leans more towards the mathematical side, which is the mechanical side. Very interesting. Okay. Because Russell was building a foundation of mathematical logic, but all the crazy Germans show up. As they are wont to do, Eliza Barr. The crazy Germans are wont to show up where they perhaps aren't wanted. All right. All right. All right. All right. I did see Ravenloft show up. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're still here. I apologize for not acknowledging you earlier. I had much to express, so again, apologies though. It's important to me to acknowledge those who come by and acknowledge my little bit, my little corner of work here. Getting deep on them. I love it. I hope so. Um, Great path to be on, Scott says. I hope so. I think it's at the very least the one I need to walk. It will leave the least amount of regrets. Your money's on building, Scott says. I mean, my guess is most of these paths build. My question, however, is the stability of those buildings. Um, and that was chat. All right. Well, I think that might be the chat. I don't know if I have anything else to say on this subject, but again, happy to answer questions or take more excellent book suggestions. Again, thank you, Eliza Barr. You're always hitting me up with the good stuff. Golgo is hard to get a hold of physically, but I should check it out nonetheless. I've started two different versions online. One where he was like starting out off naked in a hotel room, and then there was another one that's kind of closer to the film, which I've also just started but never got through. Dumb. Um, and I've heard a lot of great things about that mangaka and just like his personality. I know he smudged his inks with his cigarette butts or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's great. He just put that little extra bit of artistic emotion into it just by something that was an easy tool for him to use. I think that's so cool. I think that probably helped with the attitude and his what I call magic, his magic, how he's able to do his work. Very cool. And check this stuff. Let's see if I did light a fire by accident. I'm very hopeful I didn't. Boom, 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 boom. I do have it muted, however, so should be okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. So I guess I can spend a little bit of time talking about Jack 4 and where we're at. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll go over to the campaign page, which I've shown many times so far. Go all the way down so it's actually doing the right thing. I want it to, please. Let's go all the way down here. Come on, keep going down because that's where it keeps the... Oh, I gotta refresh this. This page is slowing down Firefox. Well, there's a lot of stuff on it. Go away. Refresh then. No? Yes? Refresh then. I want you to refresh. Stop. Refresh. Hammer time. Nope. All right, well, we'll just open up another one that's doing the same thing then. Yeah, that'll work. Let me go down because I want the tiers to be on the correct part of the screen when I'm sharing. You have a specific, exactly what we're going to get into. Exactly what we're going to get into. So, um, real quick before we get into this, let me see. There was a Golgo anime series back in 2009 or so that was deadly serious and a ton of fun to watch. Doing things like taking impossible shots, which I've heard is kind of his bit. Hiding guns inside of blow up balloons, breaking into a prison to kill someone. Good times. That sounds very enjoyable. He comes off as a super serious character, like dumb serious, but like highly skilled in a almost cartoony way. Sounds very fun. All right, do we have a specific date yet? That's a great question to ask. So, let me answer that real quick with, let me go up here real quick. I'm going to answer you with this. So 216-ish. So I noticed that Draw and Talk is launching 216. So I don't want to step on anybody's toes nor have my toes stepped on. I also want to have the campaign video done, which I'm hoping to film today because tomorrow I'll be too busy, and then over the weekend I'm going to be beat from work. So that would just leave Tuesday to film it, edit it, and just say, yep, we're good. So there's a chance we launch 217, 218. There's a chance we launch 214, 215. I would like to do New Comic Book Day just because it's got that energy behind it. But again, Tyler's already there, and I don't want to do that launch there and really split people's attention. Because I know we share at least part of a very similar audience. And no matter what, when I launch within the same week, it's going to be stepping on toes one way or another. Um, but it's kind of how it goes. I could delay longer, but I don't really want to. I've kind of finally hit a bit where I'm just like, okay, we just got to do it. I can't do too much more preparation. It's just not going to happen if I do. If I keep staring over, so the stream before yesterday's what became slightly controversial stream was about trepidation and hesitancy when you're looking over the edge. So I have a whole hour talking about that from a day or two ago. So if you want to hear more about me talking about that, please do check that out. But I think that's Coffee, Cody, and Comics 3. Um, but I finally hit the point where I'm like, well, we just do it because that's how I did the first campaign. That's how I did the second campaign. Is eventually you just pull the trigger and hope for the best. That's how I did the hardcover too. Um, how we did Coyote. You just have to take the step forward and just hope that it doesn't all fall out from under you. So I want to do it next week. My hope is I might even do it Wednesday again. I don't know. Um, Still feeling out the timing, but next week I think that I think that does it. I think you're finding a good medium. Step aside just enough to be respectful, but go when you need to go. That's the hope, right? Um, I don't. Again, I don't. I don't know how much it would affect one way or another, right? And I'm not. I don't view this as a competition. Um, though sometimes it can be very beneficial if you do. Again, it's just a different path to walk. But I also know people are hurting these days, right? And comics are very much a luxury, very, very much. Um, and so I don't want people to have to choose between anything. And the nice thing is, to be fair, and I recommend checking out The Girl with the Megafist when it launches. He's making it as cheap as possible for you folks. So that's very nice. I'm gonna get on it because of that. But me, I'm going more on the luxury end because honestly, we pay rates that even the big two don't tend to pay, unless you're like a big tentpole creator, I'll call it. Um, and we're a little thing. We're a very tiny little thing. We're a fly speck on comics ass. So it's tough to justify, except for the fact that this is the work we need to do. So did get word yesterday, which was incredible because I wasn't sure if it was happening still or not. But the book will continue to be in production while we're running the campaign. Maxie's all in for that. He's like, I'm gonna do this book. This is when I have the time. If we succeed and you can pay me right away, great. If not, we'll just hold on to it and you just keep going. And so that's our plan. If it fails, we turn it right back on. And I push this thing until everybody's completely sick of me. Or we're funded, so that's a threat, I guess. Um, and so it should help with our delivery date too, which is incredible. A lot of the delays we've had prior campaigns is art, just straight up. There will be a bit of delay thanks to coloring and Steve getting on at least two monthly books. I know one of them I can announce is By the Horns from Scout Comics. Please check that out. Please support his work. I want these guys to blow past my capability and to get consistent paychecks again and again. I want them to breathe in comics. I don't want them to have to do other shit. Um, I would love to be there too, but it's not. It's likely not where I'm gonna be, and that's okay. Um, but anywho, please again, By the Horns, Scout Comics. He's their new colorist for their next mini, so please check that out. It looks like it's a fantasy adventure tale, and of course, it's gonna have wonderful, beautiful coloring. Um, but okay, let's go look at this thing, and I guess we'll talk about my worries again for the hell of it, right? First worry, big one. That's the paycheck we need to get this out to everybody. That prints 500 issues and takes care of all the art and of course the shipping and the small amount of extras we got to do, which is pinups. Um, my hope is I get the acrylic stand in next week, but there's a chance I don't get it till halfway through the campaign from their estimates, so I have no idea. It shipped out last week, but they said there's possibility for 4 to 5 weeks for delivery, so I might not have an example of the standee before launch. But I don't also want to wait for it. So that's what we're doing. Um, Sticker, standee, the 3 pinups, which I've been showing off quite a bit. Um, Misprint issues for cheaper from issues 1 through 3. We're offering those. Um, the last thing I need to confirm this week, so today or tomorrow, is if we have enough books left from the previous campaign to ship to offer some of the primo books from last campaign as well on here. I wanted to have options for people who are new and like, where can I get 1 through 3? Like, this is number 4. What the fuck? I like what you're doing, but I want to start at the beginning. I want to be able to do that. Um, so we for sure have one option for doing that, which will be very cheap, but not optimal. So I'm hoping we'll have 2 options for that, with one limited and optimal, and one basically unlimited. There's no way we're selling out on all those. And again, not quite optimal. But yeah, 13.5. To be honest, I had to put an extra nearly 3K into last campaign, which hit 1400 to finish everything. But there's a lot more insanity in that campaign, so I expect much less insanity this one. Um, Honestly, I didn't. Again, that last campaign I didn't expect to fund. I launched it. I realized my numbers were shit. I was like, I'll carry through it. Doesn't look like we're gonna fund. I'll just redo it and stuff after it fails. And then the last day we get about 45% of our funding, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. So I did everything I could to make sure that everything got out, and as of 2 weeks ago, we're fucking done with it, and I'm so happy about that. Long overdue. The book's not so much, but like every little chunk and piece and moving part finally being finished and going on internationally and all of that. Wonderful. A lot of that stalling was because I was and still am technically grieving, and very hard for me to put energy into anything. Very much spurts of energy. That's how I normally am, but when I'm in a funk, it's that much harder to get the engine started. Uh, but we got it done. We got it done. I'm proud we got it done. I'm not 100% proud of how long it took, but I am proud that we have never left anyone hanging. Because that's bullshit. You're feeding our work, and it's very important to me that you know if you're a micro investor, that I respect you. And we failed a bit in that, but we didn't irredeemably fail. And I've seen the back. Numerically, I've seen the backlash of it, um, and that is not only understandable, but like what should happen. So that's fine. There was no like public flogging for how late we were, but there certainly was like the silent majority saying, "Yeah, we're good." At least on signups and interaction. So yeah. Bum. Let me see. I think you are finding a good. Okay, 500 issues. I thought Jack Irons was an indie book. That's almost amazing. Oh, I hope not. Technically, we have sold. Let's see. It was 450 or so of, about 430 of each this last campaign. So that's about 1,300 issues. And then we sold about 200 of issue 1 and 2 before. So we've sold like 2,000 issues between public and crowdfunding and between all three issues. I'm really proud of that. We've printed about 4,000 issues, right? Between, again, all three issues, not just one single issue. The fact that we've moved almost all of those except for the misprints, which we actually, again, they're readable, 100% readable. And I put the video at the end of this. um, just so people know what they're getting if they add those on. Um, but yeah, it's a lot more success than I ever expected. Um, but it's I'm grateful it's enough to continue. That's the best way I can say it. It means a lot to me that I can continue this because I'm a stubborn bastard, and this is my work. It's what needs to be done. It's not a lot of people, they'll do one self-contained graphic novel and then they'll move to another idea, or they'll do two and then they'll move to another idea. I have other ideas, but all of them are underpinned by this boy right here. So you're stuck with that. um, 500 issues. I thought, yeah, okay. Were the metal cards not working for you? I love that. They work just fine. How I should have handled it. Um, it took a couple months to find somebody new to do the metal cards because the original folks just would not get back to me with a quote. And then somebody else was kind enough to get me in contact with a guy who is a CG guy, but he had my back on these metal cards, man. So very happy. Phoenix Animations. Check out their stuff. They do beautiful metal card work. There was one thing I need to talk to him about on them, and anybody who received the metal cards might have noticed what I'm talking about. But the uh, uh, the fulfillment of that on my personal end, again, because I was grieving, I couldn't, that's something you could probably do in 2 days. And it took me months and months of grinding to get through all the packing, the fulfillment, and the mailing, and a lot of it too. I have worries again, that trepidation, that hesitancy. Like, am I packing and mailing these right? Are they going to get to where they need to get? That was my biggest problem with the international cards, especially with Australia and New Zealand doing their weird thing. That made the USPS like, we're not sending priority packages out there. It's fine to send what I sent. There was no reason for me to be as worried as I was. Um, but no, I would love to do them again. I have an idea for doing them again. But I tried to make this campaign the lowest price I could, which again I invested in the pages you see, and hopefully the next few pages that maybe I'll show, maybe I won't, um, are should be paid for. So that took the price out of the campaign budget, right? This would be, I would honestly, I probably need 15 to 16K if I hadn't already invested a bit into it, because I wouldn't launch without some kind of progress to show. Um, did that with the Kickstarter. I really wanted that cover for the hardcover there to kind of, market. And sadly, the artistic team was just swamped last year, and it just did not happen. Um, this year, Maxie's like, no, I'm here for you, and I really appreciate my team, man. Um, so, but yeah, I would like to do metal cards again. My thinking is a stretch goal because it's actually a very cheap stretch goal. Um, and then what I do is I get them done while we're working. I get them sent to me. I sign all the fuckers. I put them in a box and I mail them out to our fulfillment folks at Wicked Publishing, and then they just put it in with everything else we're mailing, right? When it's time. Uh, would save me all the hand dressing and all the envelopes and the hand wrapping and all that, and I still sign the cards and you still get signed. I would love the machine to be better and not be all on my back. Not because, again, the work was even fun. It was very very zen. I like repetitive action, but with how I am emotionally, still working through some shit, more energy could be put in delivering them quicker than I am capable of by my lonesome, and that's kind of what occurred last year with them. But again, finished it, so again, good going me. Finally got through it. Yeah, the mainstream ain't doing so hot lately. Yeah, exactly. Tears. All right, caught up finally, caught up. So here's what we got so far. Very expensive digital because it's the highest profit margin we can get. Very much the reason. Um, if people want to get this early and exclusively, yeah, you're going to pay a primo for it, but we're going to give you a bunch of stuff anyway. This should actually say extra content here as well. There's a good chance we'll have a new musical piece from Laguna Munta. We'll likely continue to put forward the Cactus Coyote manga, present that to you folks as a digital reward as well. All that fun stuff. We try and put a good amount of value to it, but um, some people just want digital as well, so I'm hopeful. That's more expensive than I would want to put a digital, honestly, but with what our publishers are now charging for a digital, this is, what you're doing is you're paying us for a copy of the work and then paying us to actually do the work, which is what we need, right? It's the highest profit margin. You can go up here, do 20, you'd get everything that comes with here, and you get the 4 issues. So it knocks down the price from $10 for 1 issue to $5 for four, or $5 each for 4, and then the extras. So I think that was one of our ways. I gotta fix that. That should be uppercase. That people can start. That's really easy on us, and again, really good profit margin allows us to actually pay for the work. Um, but if you want to spend $5 more plus the shipping, then you can get the physical, you get your pinup, you get your sticker, and you get your digital stuff. Um, for 30, and this might change to go a little higher. I mentioned this, I don't know, last time I talked about the campaign. And what I've noticed once I actually looked into them is why people do standees is because they have a very high perceived value and a very small investment to actually get done, especially if you're doing bulk. They're very cheap to get done in bulk, and you could sell them for quite a bit. And so I'm trying to get in on that game. I think that'll help our profits quite a bit. And they're cool, right? People like them. My first one I got was for Aerith Volume 2. It's up there. You probably can't see it. Um, so we're going to try that. I'm doing a limited run, of course, um, of those. So we'll see. But you get all the good stuff. You get all the good stuff. And then I'm doing this one again, which was the other stall that had a lot of it was me being intimidated that I could deliver a painted work that was worthy of the price I was charging. And then it was also me just like, you got to get to the post office and send these things out, man. And fuck, that took me forever. It was just 3 of them. Dumb. So I don't really want to offer these ever again, but I'm doing it this campaign because it's one of the angles we have. And I raised the price significantly, and I will get them out faster and do my best to increase the quality accordingly. Um, but that's the tier so far. Again, there's a chance that I'll do an issue 1 through 3 and number 4 bundle, depending on how many of the prior campaigns books we still have that are primo, and whether or not Wicked and I want to release them through this campaign, which actually kind of sounded like Mike wants to do, which I'm very grateful for because I had, and I try to be a man of my word, said that those, any extras, those are for us to sell through them. So we'll see if that's what happens. That's one of the last moving pieces before I can actually say a definitive launch date. Standees have zero perceived value. Exactly. So that's the thing too. Like for me, how much they charge for them, I don't really need, right? Aerith, it ended up just being included. And it was my boy Aki T's art. I love Aki T. Englishman living in Japan that does just very killer manga, very unique style. So I was very happy to receive that, and I think it was a stretch goal that they just gave it to all the physical backers. So that's how I ended up with mine. Personally, yeah, I'm not gonna go grab a standee, but I've seen how some people are with those. and then I've seen what you can charge for them, and then I've seen what the profit margin is, and I'm like, yeah, if that works, that's a big help. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. Stretch goals. Again, metal cards. Originally, color was going to be a stretch goal, but after talking to Steve and what I really want to do with this project, we were able to come to a good middle ground on that. One of the stretch goals might be a bonus for the creative team, is one way to say it as well. We'll see how that goes. Have you thought about doing a retailer tier? We did the last two campaigns, and I never heard back from it. And I know some people who picked it up were not retailers; they just wanted bulk of the books, which just fine with me. Um, and we ended up giving killer deals on the retailer so that you could resell it. Um, that is a good reminder. I should add a retailer tier to here. My problem is I'm trying to find out like what the print run is that I need to try and hit. Um, 500 is what we've been doing and what close to what we can sell. To fund this campaign, I need to sell 500 issues. Just mathematically, that's how we do it. Which means 500 backers. And not sell 500. We knew 500 backers backing at least at the physical tier. So to be honest, we probably need between 500 and 600 backers. Um, our maximum amount of backing has been about 465, I want to say. Last campaign that got us to 14K. So it's possible, definitely possible. And any of those higher tiers, those higher price tiers that sell, decrease the amount of backers we need, right? As the our profit margins are higher. But if you go like over 500 issues, then you should just get 1,000 issues. And then if I get 1,000 issues, then we have to worry about storing at least probably 500. And I don't know. Be nice to print that 1,000, and then we have the extra, right? But we're not. Wicked did another print run with the new with the previous covers that I love, but with new trade dress that matches our current trade dress. And there was only about like 25 of each issue, and we aren't sold out. So like our perceived value in the resale bit, like in the public just selling, is very low. It's very low. We get some people who, particularly comic creators, who stumble upon me and like what I'm doing and appreciate my support, tend to pick up our book. Very wonderful. But if you can't sell 25 of your book publicly, like, do you really want to have 500 back there kicking around? Right? And I really don't know how this one's gonna go. The demand for our work is definitely probably the lowest it's ever been, even though the amount of work we've been able to show and to do is the highest. So it's difficult to know where we are till we launch. That's the best way I can say it. Like I can't say it's definitely lower, but I can definitively say it's not being perceived by me as higher. Um, Howdy Flock, welcome, welcome. 10 bucks, a window cling. What we did last time, I didn't finish your statement, just Doug, about the retail tier. So what we did last time was 15 books, so it was 5 of each issue. And then you'd get all 5 pinups to hang how you want, and then you'd get your sticker. And then that was our bit. Um, so I think that kind of covers what you're thinking. Window cling, counter display. I haven't done much with cardboard, so I have no idea how like a counter display would work. I love one. Um, the other thing about this acrylic standee that I was thinking, and I'd love your folks' thoughts since I got a few of you here. So most everyone's doing acrylic standees, but the company I'm looking at also does balsa wood standees, and that appeals to me. I like more natural material than stuff like acrylic. Um, so thoughts on that? If you guys have any opinion on whether a wood standee or an acrylic would appeal to you more, or if you're like Elizabar, who's like it has zero appeal to me, let me know. I'd love to know that, because there's a chance that I get this acrylic one in and I decide, you know what, I'm gonna do wood anyway. Um, but it would be good to have outside perception on that. Um, Again, welcome, Flock. I'm doing good. I mean, all things considered, I'm doing great. Um, Off couple days in this space though that haven't been that fun. Lack of Wicked going to cons isn't helping either, no question. Um, that was part of why I was cool with them holding on to those issues. Is because I thought that that would be part of the sales as well. But with all this insanity going on right now, I get it. So it is what it is. I've been going with the flow with them for a long time, and it um, certainly hasn't been worth fighting against. It's been nothing but a benefit. Is it the best benefit I could currently have? I don't know, but it certainly hasn't been a drag. Um, if the wood is pretty sturdy, you'd prefer wood, but not if it's a make or break. But it's not a make or break decision. That's where I'm at too, right? I'm back and forth. People are used to the term acrylic standee in this space. So saying wood standee would stand out, but would it stand out in a positive way or a negative way? I don't know. Um, but cool, that's a good thought. You need to see what the wood looks like. Well, here, you know what? Tyler didn't want to share the site, but it's funny. I was looking at the same site before I asked him. So let me go ahead and go over here real quick. We'll go to these folks. These are the folks I've used so far. Yeah, exactly. So I do have a digital catch-up tier on there, just Doug, for sure. It's all profit, you know, at least 3/4 profit, right? The rest is sunk into issue 4. So here's the company that I'm using, and as far as I'm aware, Tyler's using. Um, Zap Creatives. You will have to actually pay in British pounds, and I think that's part of why the shipping time was so crazy, is because maybe it's coming from overseas. But here's an example of their acrylic standees, one of the smaller ones. It's the kind I went for. And then here's their wooden ones, which I'd like to do like how these folks have them set up, where there's 3 dimensions to it, but I actually need specific art to be made that way. So we wouldn't be doing it that way. But I like this birch plywood. It's birch. I thought it was balsa, so they're not super thin, but it is plywood, so it's different chunks of wood put together, as you can see. Of course, we wouldn't have these excellent layers, which you know how it goes. But would have that. It would have grain. Would be the difference. Um, the image would have that graininess to it, which I kind of like, especially since I'm doing, as it says, it's the Boogie Bot pinup. What I want to do, so the one I got isn't, the image isn't cut out, so it's literally just a pinup in a square stuck in a thing. What I want to do is have somebody, and I think it'll probably be Mrs. H, cut out Jack from that, so you have more of this kind of shape to it, more of a round shape. But yeah, so that's the idea. If you folks are interested in this for your own stuff right here, again, it's a good, you know, for one, it's that. For that, and then you go piece by piece. It turns out they're only about $3 a piece, and then you could sell them for $10 to $25. And freaking A is that profit margin crazy good once you can sell in bulk. Hand carved, free range, open source, organic, sustainable, artisanal standees. Yes. See, now do I have your interest? No. Responsibly sourced wood, though. Could definitely do that. So that's my thinking. I kind of want to do the birch. I kind of want to do the wood, but I'm getting the acrylic as an example, and then I'll kind of decide. I just want to see. Mainly, I'm getting this acrylic to see the size that I bought, because it's not going to be a big tall one like the Common America ones, but I also don't want it to be this tiny little fucker that you know you can't even really see from a distance. So I need it. I need it a couple different ways. Bum, 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 bum. Ghost Burt Reynolds makes sense thematically. That is what too. I'm kind of thinking too. Though this is the Famine Inc. Introduction to Famine Inc. and its hellhole, which would very much be plastic. Very much be plastic. Barbie girl level plastic. Um, it's fantastic. Um, but yeah, so those are the ones. Yep, they are. I'm assuming they are gluten free. You're right. You need to hook up on plushies. You in particular need to hook on plushies. I don't know if anybody wants a cuddly little Jack, but I mean it would be adorable. But I don't know if that's. I mean, so what you do, Scott, is what I do. So how I found this site, and I'm guessing how Tyler found it, was Standees Custom. So what you do here is this is a trick here, folks, that not many creators know about. Yeah, I'm gonna be a dick. See that? Oh, look at that! Now I don't know how you make the artwork to get these plushies made, but here's a site, and then you see what they need. You get a quote, upload artwork, even hand drawn. So it looks like they do the bit. You get a custom quote, and then you can check your prototype, and then they shit it to you. They shoot it to you, and there you go. Boom, done. You got your hookup on custom plushies. The internet's amazing, folks. Just incredible potential. I get a little mad now. Because that's the thing. That's the thing with all of this. That's how I've done any of this work is the potential of the internet. You know, I like this guy's work. I'm going to get a hold of him. Holy shit, we're working together now. A lot of this stuff is that. The acrylic standees. Look up custom standees. Found a site that does it. Custom plushies. Look up custom plushies. It's having the ability again to just leap off that edge, and a lot of the time it's not as scary as you think it is. I have no idea how much these plushies cost. Again, it looks like you get a custom quote, but nonetheless, there you go. Pretty. I mean, I was being a bit of a dick there, but that's. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? It's just wanting to actually follow through with it that is difficult. No question, man. No question. But it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Sometimes you need that keyword custom. Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. But back to the campaign. I don't think I have much else to talk about. We talked about the tiers. Let me see if we're. Yep, we're at 186 signups. I'd love to hit 200 before launch, but we're at like one sign up or two signups every couple weeks, so that's not likely to happen. Uh, Especially because at the beginning I was offering a some kind of discount or custom tier. I did that last time, and that was another thing that why I needed to put more money in than we got last time is because I offered a tier for the pre-launch signups that was an extreme deal. And that screwed me, particularly on international shipping. It screwed me good. So again, I survived it and I learned from it. So we're not doing that again. At least not without like the proper perception and understanding of what things need to be done to allow it to happen safely. Because I can't actually recover from a fumble like that again. I'm just in no financial or mental state to do that. So I made sure that we're avoiding those pitfalls this go by asking for what we need to ask for and not for what would be possible. I think is the problem, but we'll see. Don't know just yet. So those are the tiers. Here's the pitch. I'm kind of thinking of cutting this part out just because it's a lot that just explains the universe, right? And it's available on our site, and maybe it's not a hook for the comics. I don't know. I am showing previous pages because we will not have the color work for the new pages, so it's just how it goes. Um, I do summarize issue number 3, I think, pretty succinctly. I introduce folks to this first level of hell, you know. Um, I'm glad I get to keep this little ad there. Um, showing off the first 5 preview pages. It looks like we're gonna have another 5 here soon, which thanks to, well, we'll see how long the Fed takes to get me my refund, but thanks to the state getting it to me within days, I'm hopeful I can just pay for the next 5 again, which um, wouldn't lower this goal because we'll probably be launched before I get those 5, but would I don't know, pad out. It would allow the goal to cover more possible mistakes down the line. Some people like these too, and I'm not so sure I need to do this. The team section. People like to know that, but I'm not sure if it's necessary at all. Add, and then I explain some of the tiers. There's some more I need to do here before launch, of course. I'm hoping the standee's in before launch because then I can actually put a picture of the standee under the standee, but it is what it is. Went with one of these just so people kind of understand where everything's kind of going. Yeah. And then all this stuff, and then you get to see what you're getting. I'm thinking of replacing these 3 big images with this combined image I have. But I don't know, the big images are real pretty. So I'm deciding that. This is the wonderful sticker we're going this time. Bought that months ago. And then this is to explain the misprints. In case that is the only way that we can provide the previous issues. Because I'm not doing another printing of the previous issues. It would add another 2K to this. I mean, we'll be very lucky to hit the 13.5. Again, we hit the 10K final day last campaign, ran for 2 months, issue number 3. So again, I had a whole stream about my trepidation looking at that goal, but it's what we need, and I can't fuck up again, so I can't lower it to a point where it's okay, I'll make up for it again. That's just not, it's not going to be healthy for me at this point. I had many more personal safety nets when I was able to recover last campaign that just, they don't exist anymore. So, yeah. You like to pick mine up so you can keep the shipping. Unfortunately, more people can't do that. Well, yeah, that's how it goes. Oh, you're shipping internationally? Yes. What I think I'm going to do is what I did last campaign, where I'll add countries upon request. That way I can look up the most accurate cost at the time. That's what I was doing. It worked fine. Nobody really complained about that. It's like, oh, so you're not shipping here? It's like, oh, no, I can do that. Just give me a second, and then I'll link them. That worked fine just last time. I think from the beginning, I added the EU. I added Japan and Australia from the start because we actually have quite a few backers in those 3 regions. So I wanted to make sure that was available. So I'm probably going to do that, but then like Puerto Rico, they wanted to add at one point, which is just domestic shipping. It's just weird like that, that you still have to have a separate shipping cost. It's not included in the United States one. And I had to add Germany, I think. I think. And I had to add the Netherlands and a few other places, which, 2 or 3 backers, totally worth adding, but like from the start, if it's not necessary, I'm not gonna. I've seen some guys actually have book printed and get someone overseas to mail them out for them to cut. Yes, I've seen that before as well. We've thought about that many times. The problem is then you have to have a domestic printer and an international printer, and that international printer, you have to have a print run that justifies that, right? Like if I'm only shipping 30 issues overseas, then you'd still have to do probably a 500 issue run to make it at all worth it. And then what are they going to do with the other 470 books, right? Then they have to ship them back over here, and it's a nightmare. But if we somehow blew up and had 1,000 backers overseas, that is definitely a way to go about it. We have to ask, was there a chance we might get some info on that 6th project from this campaign? We'll see. Not sure. Not 100% sure, but we'll try. We'll try. No, I think so. I think so, Scott. I think what we need to do is see how things are going, and I need to be with the hardcover. I was very rigid I think was a lot of the problem. Um, and had we been able to go longer than Kickstarter allows, I think we would have funded. But so we're going the full 2 months on this. It's going to be the slog, and we're going to see if last day we can pull it together, or if maybe we fund on day one. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm ready for a long, hard slog to get this done. I'm 100% prepared for that, and if I'm wrong, thank God. But if not, we're gonna get this done, hell or high water. Welcome, New Age Ninja Core. Love you too, brother. Love you too, brother. It's good to see you. I hope things are calming down. Kind of pissed me off that my own personal venting was taken as personal to that guy, but is what it is. It's the kind of person he is. It's fine. I'm hopeful that I didn't put more gasoline on the fire anymore. I just needed to vent a couple times because waking up to that shit, not fun. But anywho, I think that's the overview, folks. I mean, I'm excited. I'm terrified. I am ready for a fight. In terms of, it's gonna be a slog. This has told me that it's going to be a slog. I don't know if we're gonna get many return backers. I know a lot of people could see that, and it's a great total. It's a great total for a lot of indie projects. But at the rates we pay and the quality we try to put out that is competitive with basically anything else on the stands, uh, we need mainstream money. Even though we're an indie book. So that's just how it goes. But the team, every member of the team is making sacrifices for this, and I'm well aware of that. And I'm very hopeful that that love and care and affection for this project will be enough to carry it to completion. It has so far, but this one really everybody's given something. Maxie's doing pages so that he can make sure that it doesn't fuck with any other bit of his schedule, and because he loves this book. Steve went down in rate, even though he's high in demand now on monthly titles because he loves this book. I'm giving it everything I got because this is one of the most important things I do. Um, the other important thing I do is my day job, and I mean my multiple day jobs, and this is on tier, if not beyond that, because it has a wider reach. It's a less intimate reach. My day jobs are very personal and very heartwarming because of that intimacy and that connection directly with another beautiful soul. But this is a different beast, and it's a very important beast to me, and I think it's done a lot of good, and I believe, strongly believe, it can do a lot more good. So we're gonna keep up the fight. That's all. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Bum 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 bum. Don't worry about you. This is just 2018. Well, 2018 sucked, brother. Of course I'm gonna worry. 2018 was shit. One of these days you'll get someone with a legit beef, right? Right? Put some focus on the fact that your book, unlike a lot of others, is good. Well, see, that unlike a lot of others bit isn't part of me, right? I do a whole series on this channel called IronVerse Quickies, and my goal is not ever to disparage books, but to point out weaknesses so that they can be shored up and improve. And the only reason I think I even have the arrogance to do that is because I believe our project is good. I don't believe it's better. And if folks, I hope folks understand what I mean by that. Um, I don't. Better is a worse. Comparing apples and oranges to me is it's a fun theoretical experiment, but you better have something very specific to gain from it, or it's just another waste of time. Um, yep, just focus on your work being good. I hope so, and I hope others will. I think we have some of the best artistry in indie comics. I think we actually keep up with some of the best artistry in the mainstream, particularly if you're a fan of like Daniel Warren Johnson's work. I think Maxie does what he does, and then adds some Mignola and some fucking Frank Miller, and it becomes this crazy beast that I'm so proud to see. Especially, man, this page 4. Oh my God, it's so cool. Man, when he showed me that page. So when it was in production, and I'm gonna go ahead and show it because we're right here. When it was in production, he was doing page 4 and 5. He's like, brother, I think you're gonna really like these pages. I was like, oh, I'm sure I'm gonna like these pages, man. I love everything you do. And then he showed me. I was like, oh, that's what he meant. He specifically told me he wanted to go heavier on the inks this go, and yeah, he did. Because it increases the vibe of what we're doing. Because the first 3 issues, the first issue, I mean, that was created 6 years ago. Um, and his line art was softer. It was more like Joe Mad kind of feeling. And then by issue 2, he got a little bit more sketchy, a little bit more, again, Daniel Warren Johnson kind of feel. Um, issue 3, he took that and then he injected a bit more like anime Akira kind of feel to it. Not anime, a manga kind of Akira speedline. Um, uh, God, it's a physics term. I'm trying to. He conserved energy in his line work, and it allowed that the energy that was put forward to speak louder. This one, he's done that even more, and he's been able to just inject more into it. And holy hell, Um, this book's getting made. I'm getting it out there because it is just incredible. I saw his work on other titles last year, and I think this blows it out the water. And I'm so proud of that fact. I'm so glad our project can bring that very specific energy out of him. I'm just so happy about that. Um, uh, Apologize for my bot saying hi more than once, but it is triggered to say howdy to hey, hi, hello, and a couple others. So that's when you see like IronVerse Comics and it says howdy. That's what it is. It's supposed to allow me to, like, if shit gets crazy in chat sometime, to allow some kind of personal touch. Even though it is a robot, so how personal is it? I don't know. I like it. You wrote that clunky. No worries, no worries. Mrs. H, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. I'm glad you made it by. Um, I hope folks who are interested actually go back to the beginning of this campaign, beginning of this live stream and watch it, because I think I got a lot of important things said, particularly on what I try to do with this work and such. Because the title of this is How to Win the War on Perception. I think I covered my thoughts on that actually pretty well. Um, uh, Once all the people I know start showing up is when I have to go. Don't worry, Scott. You take care and have a good one, brother. We'll be talking later. Uh, you meant use the quality as a selling point because it's there. Oh, got it, got it. See, I took it a different way. That'll happen. That'll happen. Talking about perception these days. Um, I'm usually very humorless. Not that like I can't appreciate humor. It's just part of my makeup that uh, I have a hard time with it, particularly recognizing it. And the drier it is, right? I've had a lot of awkward personal interactions where somebody was making what probably was an obvious joke, and I took it 100% literally. And I don't take offense with it. That's not ever my bit. I try to work around it, right? I try to. It's another word that's escaping me. The word means allow for it to exist. Try to compensate for it, is what it is. I take it 100% serious, and I'm just like, okay, this is new data. How do I interact with it? Um, I've had a lot of interactions like that where the guy was, usually men, are making a joke, and it just went, and I'm just like, okay, how do I deal with this now? All right, let's do it. And they're like, oh, you didn't mean it. Oh, whoops. A lot of that. Just one of my handicaps, I guess, is a way to put it. I don't think I'm not. I don't think. Double negative. I think I have some benefits to how my mind works, but yeah, there's a few rough edges that I try to recognize. Um, Beer. You got one beer left, but I'll share. Thank you. Oh, well, good, good, good to share. Good to share. But showed the art. I'm so excited to see more art. seeing Maxi produce work again, seeing Jack again. So the Global Frequency, really kind folks. They're on a spectrum that a lot of folks don't care for, but they saved my ass last year in a lot of different ways. Um, they, for their campaign, the Mavericks, which I actually have the digital copy open over here, came out beautifully, by the way. Very pretty book. They did an Akira homage for the cover too, which is funny because at the same time we did an Akira homage on our first page for issue 4. Just weird coincidence. Love the coloring in this book. I did comment that I think they went too big on the file size for the digital, but that's why you can see so much. Why it's so clear right here, right? They did one of the stretch goals in this was a print from Maxi with a crossover between Jack and the Mavericks here. That was the first time I had seen a new piece of Jack for a very long time, and that warmed my heart quite a bit. Especially for Maxi. There's something about that. Very lucky to work with the man. Um, and I hope we can call each other friends. The but since then, like I do this channel mainly so I don't feel like the work's stuck in a rut, even when it most certainly is. Most certainly is. Like there's no forward momentum, right? Um, that's why I've worked on video editing, just anything to add more tools to the toolkit, so that I am building something, even if it's not forward momentum. But starting to see pages come in from Maxi, and then how his style has evolved to be this grimier, grungier, inked uh, expression. Uh, it was the most heartwarming thing I've experienced in probably a year. And I've very grateful for it, and I'm very hopeful, very invested in this thing succeeding. But it's gonna do what it's gonna do, right? I can only give my best shot, so I'm trying to also keep perception so it doesn't break me. Again, the issue 5 Kickstarter at the end of it, watching it tick down, and then by the end of the just watching that one that hurt. I almost broke down on stream on that one. Um, I'd say I did, honestly. It was a leaky boat. Um, but you just get up after those hits, right? And last year I had a different perception on a lot of things. Uh, that I was definitely in a different stage of grief than I am now. So I think I'm better prepared to handle a mishap were to have it. And again, that's one of the other reasons I'm a bit spooked at our campaign goal, but I know we deserve it. I know that's exactly what we need to fund. I know that we've continuously been able to pay above industry rates and to help feed our team's families. And I've known that it's done a lot of good for me doing it, even though it's become more of a personal investment than any kind of uh, financial crutch for me. Right? It's not at all. It's definitely a money sink, but it's one that brings me things much more important to me than finances. And as long as I can balance that importance with being able to take care of myself and my little animal family, then I'm totally happy to keep at it. And we're gonna see this go if there's still some gas in the tank. I have no idea if there is, honestly, but we'll see. We'll see. Mom sharing is indeed caring, just Doug, no question. Going to pick up some fancy imported beer from another hemisphere. Oh, well, nice. It's Australian. Australian for beer. Ah, I see. Um, Sent you some beer loot. Well, good. Enjoy. Enjoy, enjoy. Um, yeah, I think I spoke about this again. I've been tempted to drink the last couple weeks, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that probably till we fund. Um, because I get lost in funks with alcohol. Um, you could see it. You'll see the waves. You go through the channel, and you'll see waves of just nothing but dry spells, and then waves of like nothing but drinking streams. And I'm very hyper self-aware, and I know that sometimes that's fine, but as much as I have done it, I don't know. I don't know. And there's a history with my family with that particular chemical that I can do better. I can do better. So gonna keep at that. See how it goes. And I tried to use it for the hardcover campaign as kind of a PR stunt, right? And maybe worked, but the physical toll and the reminder of, you're drinking yourself sick quite a bit. It has had me rethink that significantly. But some people can handle it much better than I can. No question there. No question there. But okay, folks. I think I've covered the war on perception. I think I've covered as much as I can on the issue 4 campaign without, it being running. Um, if you have any questions while I'm still live, I'm happy to answer them. If you have any questions later, put them down in the comments. Just, if I specifically ask you, not to bring crap to my table, and you're commenting on the video that asks asks you not to bring crap to my table, and you're bringing crap to my table, please don't. I don't think anybody here will. In fact, I can guarantee nobody here will. But if somebody's watching through this and looking for things to pick apart, remember I've asked multiple times nicely. Please don't. Do your thing. It doesn't seem to resonate with my thing. Um, yeah, folks, that kind of, I think that does indeed cover the bases. Um, I tried a reading stream yesterday, and I enjoyed it. So I've actually got 2 stunts to pull on that. We'll see how they go. I think they'll be fun for me. I don't want to reveal them till I've got like it scheduled, and it's something cool that I can kind of put make a bit of a circus around if I can. But check that out. I'm sure it's boring, but I enjoyed it. Um, check out yesterday's stream. It was just as heartfelt as this one. So, even if it was taken out of context a bit, um, I think it was still important, and I think there's still some things that maybe are worth hearing in it. If you didn't join this one from the beginning, I do recommend watching it from the beginning. It would mean a lot to me, so you kind of get the full context of what this was. Um, do all the things if you haven't, the like, the subscribe, the share if you would. That's one that doesn't tend to happen too much. Um, but if not, just thank you for joining me. It means a lot. I'm a very solitary individual, and I always will be. It comes with being an only child, but it also comes with my upbringing, and it comes with the fact that I've spent significantly more time with animals than I have with people. Um, I think that's also why my brain kind of works as it does, where I don't get some things that are very human behavior. um, deception for fun, for instance, also known tends to be a segment of humor, right? Um, and just know I appreciate you folks. Anybody watching this, I appreciate you, even if we have issues. I do. I appreciate you doing what you do, and I try and have as much empathy for you as you'll allow me to have. And for most folks, that's quite a bit, and I'm blessed to be able to have it. Um, do your thing, but away from me. Yeah, most people just don't get that. Yep, that person you're never going to win. It's like talking to a wall. But anywho, later, dude. Yep. Take care, Brian. Have a good one, man. Good luck on your studies and upgrading and leveling up. That's a very important thing to do. Uh, I've been terrible at it, particularly when it comes to systems that are you know, proven to work. I'm terrible at that. Terrible at that. But yeah, I think that does it. I think that does it. I think I've rambled plenty. Um, Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. They're gonna tell me. Yeah, I've rambled plenty. This is over an hour and a half. I try and keep these short, and I try to either finish before my coffee gets too cold, or finish the coffee before I finish. And didn't do either. Didn't do either. It is cold, cheap coffee. So injecting caffeine, that's my drug of choice today. All right, take care, folks. Appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you on that rusty IronVerse Comics trail. Yep. Again, Book Panic, thank you for showing up for a couple of different streams. I really do appreciate it. I love seeing new faces, and when I see consistency, it means a lot. It means I'm not completely failing at this job. All right, take care.